Anxiety is a familiar companion to many of us. It creeps in quietly, tightens its grip in the chest, races the heart, and clutters the mind. In the modern world, with its relentless pace and constant noise, peace feels like a luxury and clarity, a distant dream. But over 2,000 years ago, the Stoics built a blueprint for precisely this challenge. They too lived in uncertain times. They too faced war, loss, betrayal, and chaos. Yet instead of succumbing to fear, they trained their minds to rise above it. Their wisdom was simple, profound, and actionable. They taught that while we cannot control what happens around us, we can control what happens within us. This journey is not about suppressing anxiety or pretending life is easy. It's about meeting life head on, building unshakable clarity, and learning to navigate inner storms with calm. In this story, we'll walk through 8 Stoic habits that will help you move from anxious spirals to steady presence, from chaos to clarity. Each habit is a stepping stone, forged by ancient minds and proven through modern challenges. The transformation is real, and it begins with a single practice. Let's dive in. At the very heart of Stoic philosophy is a single, liberating idea. Some things are up to us, and some things are not. This principle, known as the dichotomy of control, is the first step out of anxiety. Why? Because anxiety thrives when we try to control the uncontrollable, the future, others' opinions, outcomes, uncertainty. Epictetus taught, happiness and freedom begin with a clear understanding of one principle. Some things are within our control, and some things are not. When you're consumed by worry, pause and ask, is this within my control? If the answer is no, let it go. If the answer is yes, take action. This simple question becomes a compass for the anxious mind. Imagine you're preparing for an interview. Anxiety creeps in. What if I mess up? What if they don't like me? But with the Stoic lens, you shift. Can I control their reaction? Number. Can I prepare my answers, calm my breath, and show up with presence? Yes. The shift isn't magic, but it's powerful. It brings your attention back to what you can do right now, and that's where peace begins. To train this habit, make 2 columns each morning. What I can control, what I cannot. Journal about what you're releasing and what you're committing to. Practice daily affirmations like, I do what I can. I release what I can't. Anxiety often starts in the gap between reality and what we wish reality were. The dichotomy of control closes that gap and gives you your power back. An anxious mind is a time traveler. It jumps to future worst-case scenarios or replays past regrets. But peace lives in only one place, the present. Marcus Aurelius wrote, confine yourself to the present. He wasn't dismissing the importance of planning or learning. He was teaching us to return again and again to what is happening now. Every breath is an anchor. Every sensation, a reminder. I am here. When the mind begins to spiral, will I succeed? What if I fail? Stoicism invites us to pause and ground ourselves. Notice your breath. Feel your feet. Look around. What is within you and around you right now? To build this habit, incorporate micro-mindfulness throughout your day. When drinking water, notice the coolness. When walking, feel each step. Before a conversation, take one conscious breath. These moments may seem small, but they retrain the nervous system to recognize the safety of now. Seneca reminded us, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. And it's true. Anxiety tells stories of what might happen. Presence reminds us of what is. When we return to the present moment, we remove anxiety's stage. Over time, this habit becomes a refuge. In the storm, you'll know how to come home, to breath, to body, to clarity. It may sound counterintuitive, but one of the most effective ways to reduce anxiety is to face discomfort on purpose. The Stoics call this premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of adversity. Why? Because anxiety is often rooted in fear of the unknown. When we train ourselves to experience difficulty voluntarily, we become less afraid of it and far more capable when it arrives. Seneca practiced sleeping on the floor, eating coarse food, and walking barefoot, not because he had to, but because he wanted to remind himself, I can endure this. I can handle far more than I think. You can apply this principle today in small but powerful ways. Take cold showers to train mental resilience. Fast intermittently to build discipline. Walk instead of driving. Skip comforts occasionally. The purpose is not to suffer for suffering's sake. It's to build familiarity with discomfort. When the body and mind know what challenge feels like, they stop fearing it. And without fear, anxiety loses its edge. One of the most effective Stoic tools for clearing anxiety is objective reflection, and the fastest way to cultivate it is through journaling. This isn't about spilling emotion onto a page. It's about learning to see clearly. Marcus Aurelius, one of history's most powerful emperors, journaled almost daily. His writings, later compiled as meditations, weren't intended for anyone else. They were reminders to himself to act justly, think clearly, and respond to life with wisdom. Why journaling? Because anxiety clouds our thinking. It exaggerates threats, minimizes our strength, and loops the same fearful thoughts again and again. Writing forces us to slow down, examine, and reframe. Here's how to use Stoic journaling. Morning prompt. What can I control today? What might test me? And how can I respond with virtue? Evening reflection. What did I fear today? How did I respond? What did I learn? This is not about perfection. It's about perspective. Journaling creates distance between you and your emotions. It turns panic into pattern. You begin to see this fear returns every time I face uncertainty. But I've survived it before. I'll survive it again. Seneca wrote, we are often more frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than reality. Journaling pulls that imagination into the light, and in the light, it loses its grip. To make this a habit, keep a notebook beside your bed or in your bag. Set a 5-minute timer to write without editing. Focus not on how you feel, but how you want to respond. Over time, your journal becomes a map, proof of your growth, and a guide back to clarity whenever anxiety returns. Few ideas are more radically stoic or more liberating than Amor Fati. It means love of fate, not just acceptance of what happens, but embracing it. Even the pain, even the struggle. This doesn't mean you have to enjoy suffering. It means seeing every event, pleasant or painful, as part of a greater unfolding, a test, a teacher, a path. Marcus Aurelius wrote, a blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything that is thrown into it. Amor Fati turns life's fuel, even the bitter kind, into energy. When anxiety arises, we often resist. This shouldn't be happening. I can't handle this. I hate this feeling. Amor Fati invites us to say instead, this is here. I will face it, and I will grow from it. Try this mental shift. From why is this happening to me? What is this teaching me? From I wish this would go away. I will use this to become stronger. This habit trains your mind to stop fighting reality and to start collaborating with it. You stop wasting energy on resentment. You begin using that energy for resilience. To cultivate Amor Fati, write down recent hardships and list what they've taught you. Say out loud, I accept and grow from this. Visualize setbacks as stepping stones, not stop signs. The result? Not a painless life, but a powerful one. A life where even anxiety becomes an ally. A signal, not a sentence. When anxiety leads, we act from fear. We avoid, we hesitate, we shrink. But the Stoics taught us to lead from values, to decide in advance what kind of person we want to be, especially under pressure. Epictetus said, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Anxious moments are the best testing grounds for values. When your heart races, your mind spins, and the future feels uncertain. Can you still be kind, courageous, disciplined, honest? Here's how to build this habit. Define your core virtues: courage, wisdom, temperance, justice. Choose one each week to embody intentionally. In anxious moments, ask, what would this virtue do now? Let's say you fear public speaking. Anxiety says, run, cancel, avoid. But virtue says, courage speaks. Discipline prepares. Wisdom breathes. By embodying your values, you step outside the identity of fear. You become someone who chooses how to respond, not someone who reacts automatically. Write this mantra: I act from my principles, not my panic. This is how Stoics built mental clarity, not by eliminating fear, but by walking through it with character. Anxiety loses its power when it can no longer steer your life. Your values are your compass. Let them guide you, even through the fog. Stoicism doesn't promise that life will go smoothly. It prepares us for when it doesn't. One of the most powerful practices for cultivating mental clarity and reducing anxiety is premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. It may sound grim, but it's deeply empowering. This ancient Stoic exercise involves imagining potential setbacks before they happen, not to dwell in fear, but to rehearse your response with calm and courage. Seneca advised, he robs present ills of their power who has perceived their coming beforehand. Instead of being blindsided by difficulty, you train your mind to remain steady, focused, and ready. Here's how to practice it. Each morning, take a few minutes to visualize challenges you might face: a difficult conversation, a sudden disruption, a fear. Ask yourself, if this happens, how would the best version of me respond? Write a quick mental strategy rooted in Stoic virtues. This habit builds emotional armor. When the unexpected occurs, you've already rehearsed. Your mind says, ah, yes, I've seen this before, and I know how to meet it. Premeditatio malorum teaches you to accept the possibility of hardship without fear. It's the antidote to naive optimism and the enemy of unprepared panic. Anxiety thrives in uncertainty, but preparation transforms that uncertainty into clarity. By expecting adversity and meeting it in your mind first, you rob it of its sting. You become adaptable, calm under fire, and steady when others shake. Your mantra here: I do not fear what I have prepared for. Inner peace isn't something you stumble upon when life finally calms down. It's something you practice daily, through small, consistent acts of intention. The Stoics didn't wait for the perfect moment to feel peace. They created it by living in harmony with reason, virtue, and what was in their control. Marcus Aurelius wrote, nowhere you can go is more peaceful, more free of interruptions than your own soul. That peace isn't a lucky feeling, it's a trained response. Here's how to build this into your routine. Morning silence. Begin your day with 5 minutes of stillness. No phone, no noise, just breath and thought. Midday. Reset. Step outside, breathe deeply, reconnect with what truly matters. Evening reflection, ask, did I respond with clarity today or with confusion? Adjust gently. Peace grows where presence lives. Most anxiety stems from mentally living in a future you can't control. The Stoics called us back to now, the only space we can act within. Let go of perfection. Choose progress. Let go of control. Choose clarity. You are not your racing thoughts. You are the awareness beneath them. This habit becomes your anchor. In chaos, you return to breath. In fear, you return to values. In uncertainty, you return to reason. And when you practice this often enough, peace is no longer a visitor. It becomes your home. Anxiety is not a flaw. It's a signal, a cry for alignment, truth, and strength. The Stoics didn't run from that signal. They faced it head on and answered with reason, virtue, and discipline. You now hold a blueprint. Observe without judgment. Accept what you cannot control. Master your breath. Reflect with clarity. Embrace fate. Lead with values. Rehearse adversity. Practice peace. This isn't a one-time transformation. It's a daily commitment, a choice to return again and again to the steady ground of inner wisdom. You have the power to turn anxiety into clarity, fear into focus, and chaos into calm. Not by force, but by philosophy. Not by escape, but by embodiment. The Stoics gave us tools. Now it's your turn to live them. Begin today, not with perfection, but with purpose. Your peace awaits.